So I want to talk about the error of being. I've talked about this before, and if anybody ever sizes my philosophy up and it counts to one thing, because maybe it's just a million little descriptions and my narrative of life, but if it were to add up, it's the error of being would be a crucial part of it. Everything is built around this concept. So the way I see it is humankind begins to dawn on them some reasoning. And by no means is this a particular point in time. This goes on throughout the whole history of animals and mankind where these things are dawning. But let's just say in the last couple 100,000 years, the human intellect, we start considering things in something, let's say, of a human way, whatever that is. Not saying there's something special about the human way compared to other animals, just that there's something particular. But also not saying that there isn't something special, because humans do have this special way. We don't know how special, but anyway, last couple 100,000 years, what do you do? What do you do? You have an object, and you ask, what is this? And you grab it and you grip it and you're interacting with it and you're asking, what is it? What is it? Now, the way you get information about what it is, you touch it. It feels this way. You look at the shape. This has got dirt in it, and it's all things that it's doing. It's appearing a particular color. There's a million details of the visuality, but we're too simple to think of all those million details. Our mind helps us out, and we just get this idea of an object and what it is. We're getting all this information about what it's doing, reflecting light certain ways and all this other stuff, but that's just too much of a flood. So we filter that out and we get this concept of what it is, and that's sort of the infantile, the way the baby starts to consider something, what is. And from that comes the word to be, and the idea of being and finding out what things are, and it's productive. But if you do it for a while, of course, you end up finding out what something is, acting on that, and then lo and behold, by the time you've acted, it's changed. What is can change. So we stop asking when we pick up an object, what is it, and, what's going on. We don't ask about existence, what is it? We ask, what's going on? Okay, what is going on to this thing? Okay, so we ask, instead of what is, we ask what becomes. Now, what becomes doesn't even sound like a sensible question, really. It sounds wrong to us because we're so invested in an existential language of to be and what is, okay? But if we ask what becomes, we force that to make sense. What becomes? So it's the same thing. The answer is the same thing as what exists. But we ask what becomes. And so if for something to exist, it has to be becoming. It has to becoming. Yes, it's still the same concept of the now. It's becoming now. It's always right now becoming. So we're not really referring to the future as a material thing like we know the future, but we're referring to the fact that it's changing, that there is a future. And then if for something we ask, does this thing exist? We're asking, does stuff happen to it? Does it exist means is something occurring to it? Is it becoming something? Is it changing? So and that all ends up being, is it interacting? And this is the overlap of perception and interaction. To perceive something, you have to interact with it physically. Okay. So we start to ask, well, what is having something happen to it? So we know we exist because there's things happening to us. When we see things in our object, well, does it exist? Well, it's a bunch of perceptions, but things are happening to those perceptions, and the perceptions from that thing, therefore, are changing. And we are able to start to actually apply the system because we've had these terms to become, but the conception of the future and us on a timeline, this is all a lot more modern than people realize. We have ways in the existential language to talk about things changing, but these are like epicycles. These are adding epicycles to a geocentric system. Okay, we could call things systems, for example. What is the thing that's changing? The car, it's changing every minute. The person is changing every second. Are you the same as you were 5 years ago? No, but you are the same identity. Why? Because the system is the same. So we could call it a thing, act like we're talking about a static existential, it is a system, but really, what is it about systems that makes that possible to be a good, approximation of reality is that the thingness of systems is, it has parts, and they're always changing, they're in flux. So, so it's a way of kludging it into the existential language, but we really, my position is need to move beyond and start talking about what's happening. And when we do use the existential language, we need to know these adapters uh, that protect us from the fallacies of belief in a stasis, belief in being instead of becoming.